everyone, it's Tom from Athletes for God, and today I'm going to discuss something that is probably one of the biggest reasons that people don't believe in God, and that's unanswered prayers. We've all been there before. Maybe your company's going through layoffs, or your relationship is on the brink, or your finances seem like there's no end to your debt, or whatever issue it is, maybe a struggling family member with their health. You've asked God for His intervention, and you've prayed continuously day and night, and He just doesn't change the situation. And maybe you feel abandoned, maybe you feel hurt or confused on why God didn't answer your prayer. And today I want to give you a little bit of advice that might help you with this issue. One of the things I realized was that if God were to answer every prayer and grant every wish and every desire we ever had, there would be no such thing as faith in God, but because we would just know His existence at that point. If God were to just make every prayer happen, there would be no reason to doubt Him. And it's in the possibility of doubt and us choosing to have faith that we truly show our love for God and our belief in God, and that's the path to heaven. I don't think the idea is that every prayer should get answered. I think it's that you'll pray no matter what. Even Jesus Himself experienced this in the Garden of Gethsemane on the night before He was crucified. He asked God to please take this burden away from Him if it were at all possible, and God didn't. God didn't take that burden away from Him. But the thing was, Jesus said, "Let your will be done." And because of that, and because God didn't intervene, we're all going to get salvation in heaven. If God had intervened with Jesus' prayer and He doesn't die on a cross that next day, I might not get to go to heaven. But it's because God didn't answer that particular prayer that we all have salvation. Now, I know that this is a difficult concept for us of maybe passing the test when, maybe there's not enough evidence to show why God loves us or believes in us. And of all the times I've ever doubted God the most, it would have been when I realized that maybe some of my trials were a test from God, and my feelings were hurt because I felt like, well, why is God testing me? My parents or my loved ones don't test me to see what they could put me through if I'll still love them or not. But then I realized that those people are different than God, and that God has a special and unique plan for me, and that His way of doing things is different than everybody else. And maybe the point is to pass the test. And the reason I say this is because my name is Tom, and you guys know the story about Doubting Thomas, where he said, "I will not believe unless I see the wounds in Jesus." And Jesus later appears, and Thomas says, "I believe." And Jesus tells him, "You believe because you have seen, but blessed are those who have not seen and yet still believe." And I think that even when our prayers don't get answered, we just need to know that He hears them. That's the biggest thing. Even if God, in His plan, and His plan is different than ours, even if His plan is for Him to not answer our prayers, I just want you to know that He hears them. I can prove this because in Mark chapter 9, the disciples are having trouble driving a demon out of a boy, and they ask why this was, and Jesus said that this can only be done with prayer. So it just goes to show that prayer can work. Not all prayers are answered, but all prayers are listened to. And I just hope that helps you guys if you're struggling in your faith or with unanswered prayers, and to kind of help share that message with others if they feel like God doesn't love them, because He does. Even if He doesn't answer those prayers, He does hear them, and He does love you. So with that, this is Tom Hager from Athletes for God, and I will talk to you guys soon.